Welcome back to Vedic Living. Today I thought let's talk about the origin, the foundation. What are the Vedas? Vedic astrology or Jyotisha has been revered for a really long time as a popular form of astrology using sidereal concepts. So then the question arises, what is sidereal, right? As we get further along into our weekly installments, I will explain the difference between tropical astrology and sidereal astrology. It's very important to understand that because that's basically what differentiates East from the West. However, before we get there, first it's important to understand the origin of Jyotisha. Jyotisha, as you know, is a form of Vedanga which originated from the Vedas. So here we are. What are the Vedas? The Sanskrit word Veda originates from the root word vid, V-I-D, which means knowledge or wisdom. It means to know the divine. Okay? Vedas are the most ancient scriptures in the world as we know it. They originated in the Indian subcontinent around 1500 to 1100 BC. Even though I feel they probably originated way before that. Lots of people believe that, in fact. It's a widely known time frame, the 1500 to 1100 BC time frame, but the Vedas are basically in the form of songs and hymns and mantras and poems. So they may have originated many years before that and simply been documented around that 1500 BC time frame. Let's go to that time frame way back when they actually originated. In ancient Hindu culture, scriptures were classified into two forms. One, Shruti, meaning that which is heard, and two, Smriti, meaning that which is remembered. Now, what does this mean? Shruti is anything that is in the form of songs or poems and passed down from generation to generation. And Smriti is that which is remembered, which could even be in written form. It may have been revised many times over the years. And the kind of scriptures that fall in that category are called Smriti. The Vedas, they fall in the first category, Shruti, because they were mostly in the form of songs and poems and mantras. And it makes sense because that's the way they were transferred from one generation to the next. The grandmother used to sing the songs to the grandchild, and then he would grow up and remember that and tell his kids about it, and it pretty much was handed down through the generations in that form. Besides, written work over the course of history we have seen, they tend to be more susceptible to destruction and being lost to history, or being changed to anybody's whim. For example, the Library of Alexandria or the University of Takshashila. There are so many examples where very important pieces of work of scriptures were lost to history. So that's probably why the Vedas have survived for the longest time, because for a very long time they were passed down in the form of songs or poems. There are four main categories of Vedas. Rig Veda, this is the most important and according to scholars the most oldest of the Vedas. It is divided into 10 books. That's right, 10 books. It also contains the famous Gayatri mantra, if you've heard about it, which is a very revered universal prayer. The second Veda is Yajurveda. Yajurveda is a handbook. It was used by priests for use in the performance of yajnas. Yajnas are basically sacrifices. It contains all the mantras recited at the yajnas or rituals. The third one is Samaveda. Samaveda is the earliest known collection of verses which have a melody form in the form of music. Little known fact that the Bhagavad Gita in the epic Mahabharata declares the Samaveda as the best among the four Vedas. I was surprised too to find out that. The important fact to note in each mantra in the Samaveda is that the mantras not only have deep meaning, but they also have the added dimension of music. Atharva Veda, which is the fourth kind of Veda, the Atharva Veda contains hymns or mantras dealing with two major rituals of passage: marriage and cremation. The Atharva Veda is also sometimes called the Veda of magical formulas. I know, right? Intriguing. Since it contains a record of all practices in religious medicine. Back then, we are talking about way back then, folks. So the Atharva Veda has all those different combinations of medicines and what herbs can be used to treat what maladies and all that. So that's our fourth Veda. Let's look at a basic chart of the Vedas. The Vedas, like I said, you have Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, Sama Veda, and Yajur Veda. And we already talked about those four types. Now, if you look further down, there are further classifications of the Vedas in the form of Vedangas, Upangas, and Upavedas. And here we are getting closer to Jyotisha because we have to drill further down into the Vedangas to see the more minute classifications there. The Vedangas are broken down into Shiksha, Chanda, Nirukta, Vyakarana, Kalpana, Jyotisha. Finally, we are at Jyotisha. The Jyotisha is again broken down into a further classification called Hora, Ganita, and Samhita. So there you go. The basic definition of the Vedas, how they originated. They are major classifications, further minute classifications, and going down that tree, we have come to Jyotisha. So our next video next week is going to be about Jyotisha. What is Jyotisha? How did it originate? What's the difference between tropical and sidereal? And a lot of good stuff. I think you're going to enjoy it. So come back here next week, and until then, have a great week, guys.